Hello dear friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel Mukesh English. This is Mukesh Soni. Friends, in this video we are going to have a discussion of the famous poem titled Earth Never Dies by Niyi Osundare. Friends, I have already done the video on this topic, but the previous video I have not given my voice or I have not explained it. So in this video you'll find the very intensive discussion on this poem. So let's begin it. Let's know about the poet. Niyi Osundare is a leading African poet, dramatist, linguist, and literary critic. He was born on March 12, 1947 in Kere Ekiti, Nigeria. His poetry is influenced by the oral poetry of his Yoruba culture, which he captiously hybridizes with other poetry traditions of the world, including African culture, African American, Latin American, Asian, and European. So let's know about the poem. This poem largely includes an issue of environmental crisis, where everything is changed negatively and natural regulation is diversified in a very different way. Nature has stopped its works, and its work is disturbed by so-called civilized humans. So in this poem, Earth Never Dies, the poet shows humans' non-human activities towards nature. So let's read the stanza 1. Lynched the lakes, slaughtered the seas, mauled the mountains, but our earth will not die. So the poet is comparing the way we treat the earth to the treatment of slaves. Slaves were lynched, slaughtered, and whipped, and sometimes they were mauled by the dogs. The poet used these images of slavery to show that the earth is like a human, and to the things we do it, the things we do for this earth, very inhuman things. Just as slaves were people with worth, the earth is our home and should be treated in a similar manner. But no matter what we do it, what do we do to this earth? The poet does not hesitate to remind the reader that the earth will survive this disgrace, just as the slaves did not march to freedom. Despite all this, the poet believes that let everything happen, but earth will not die. So we find here that the poet compares the treatment to earth to the treatment to slave. The image of slavery where slaves were lynched, slaughtered, whipped, or mauled by dogs, that shows that earth is like a human being. So here earth is portrayed as a human being, but the poet reminds us that earth will survive this disgrace, earth will tolerate this disgrace, just as the slaves did on the march to freedom. Just like the slaves, they were also tolerating, but they keep on moving towards the march to freedom. Similarly, the earth will also survive such kind of disgrace, even though the poet believes that the earth will not die. This is about stanza number 1. Stanza number 2, the reading of the lines. Here, there, everywhere, lake is killed by the arsenic urine from the bladder of profit factories. A poisoned staggers down the hills, coughing chaos in the sickly sea. The wailing whale, belly up like a frying fish, crests the chilling swan song of parting waters, but our earth will not die. The poet's usage of personification, we can find here the poet has used here personification because he writes that a lake is killed by the arsenic urine from the bladder of profit factories. So what does the poet do here? The poet personifies a factory as a person with some sort of bladder infection, and this person release violent toxic urine every time they decide to relieve themselves into the river. So this is very interesting here because it shows how helpless nature is. Nature cannot stop the toxic waste being dumped into this life. The poet also gives the sea, the poet also gives the ocean, the sea, just like the human characteristics. He says, coughing chaos in the sickly sea. So the sea is sick and coughing up this nastiness, coughing up as this nastiness is polluted in its waters. But again, the poet does not neglect to tell us that in spite of all this, earth will not die, earth will live on. So here the poet brings an image where the lake has lost its originality because of humans' capitalistic perspective. The use of arsenic urine is badly affecting sea life and to the creatures of the sea. The poet is trying to picture how people are being really inhuman to the other creatures of the earth. Earth is kept in the center and as the main theme of the poem. So this stanza is describing the kind of relationship that the industries and agriculture have. It also explains how industrialization appears to mistreating the earth and poisoning the earth. So this is about stanza number 3. Sorry, stanza number 2. Stanza number 3. Who lynched the lakes? Who slaughtered the seas? Whoever mold the mountains, whoever our earth will not die. This stanza is full of rhetoric questions. These questions are to show how we are reading the poem, just like the inhabitants of the earth should not assume that the people carrying out the suffering on and the maltreatment of earth is none other than us. So who is responsible? We are all responsible for such kind of treatment which we are showing to this earth. So that's the reason that there are so many rhetorical questions to keep our mind always awake, always open. Stanza number 4, reading of the stanza. And the rain falls acid on the balding forest. The branches amputated by the septic daggers of tinted clouds, weeping willows drip mercury tears in the eye of sobbing terrains. A nuclear sun rises like a funeral ball, reducing man and the meadow to dust and dirt, but our earth will not die. Very interesting lines. This stanza shows how the forest is being affected. This stanza shows how the forest is being affected by the nuclear bombs and the produced gas. Rain is affected in the cost and it has caused acid rainfall. The problem of environmental crisis is highlighted by the poisonous gas produced by nuclear experiments. So, by showing these effects of acid rainfall, the poet is trying to create consciousness among the readers. So here we find in this fourth stanza continues on industrialization's effects on planet Earth's. It shows that how we are developing a civilization and equal to industrialization, which is going to affect our planet Earth. It says how the rain falls acid on balding forest, showing us acid rain, which is an after effect of the exhaust fumes from factories all over the world. Yet the earth is helpless because as weeping willows drip mercury tears in the eyes of sobbing terrens. In this stanza, we also see that the suffering of the earth is affecting the things on earth, even the humans, as the poet persona says that a nuclear sun rises like a funeral ball, reducing man and meadow to dust and dirt. But even though the poet says that earth will not die. In the fifth stanza, the poet says, fishes have died in the waters. Fishes, birds have died in the trees. Birds, rabbits have died in the burrows. rabbits, but our earth will not die. Here, the death of birds, fishes, and rabbits contain the meaning of world's end. Nature is marginalized, silenced, and pushed backward. Human beings are responsible for their death and their exploitation. So, humans must be responsible for the duties towards nature and its safety. The poet still keeps faith in nature's life. Even the fish are dying. We can decrease the number of deaths and reproduce fish friendly environment. Therefore, the poet suggests people in a hopeful tone to bring back nature in its previous formation. So, this stanza helps us to show that human beings are not the only life force on earth. It shows how the animals such as the rabbits, fish, birds have died in their habitats. In spite of all this, though, the poet still believes that earth will not perish, earth will not die. So this is about stanza number 5. The last stanza of this poem, the poet says, "Our earth will see again, eyes washed by a new rain. The weltering sun will rise again, resplendent like a new coin. The wind, unwound, will play its tune. Trees twittering, grasses dancing, hillsides will work with blooming harvests, the plains batting their eyes of grass and grace. The sea will drink its heart's content when a jubilant thunder flings open the sky gate, and the new rain tumbles down in the drums of joy. Our earth will see again, this earth, our earth." So, in this stanza, humans' faithfulness has the power to create a new, healthy, environmentally friendly world. So these lines are full of hope, which imagines the world without abuse of humans towards nature. Nature's freedom is projected with full of optimism. Every creature of the earth is treated equally because they all have equal importance in their existence. Therefore, these lines convey the message that every creature in the universe should have their own dignity of the existence, should have the freedom to live like other human beings. So this is the sixth and the last stanza of the poem shows us much hope. A lot of optimism is portrayed here, is reflected here. The poet persona believes that our earth will see again, eyes washed by a new rain. The poet has simply been saying that earth will stand despite all negativity portrayed. But in the last stanza, the poet shows that his hope is not him settling. The poet strongly believes that earth will get better and not stay the way it is today. This stanza changes the mood of the poem from the previous serious stanzas. So there's a drastic change here. There's a lot of optimism can be seen in this stanza here. So friends, let's sum up this poem. In this poem, the poet criticizes human exploitation over nature. He shows the hidden faith in human behavior, which believes that someday people will understand and bring back nature in its previous form. This poem describes the disturbed ecology and its impact on human civilization and vice versa. The poet brings human and non human realms together to show that all creatures of nature is as equal as human. Humans themselves alone cannot make an existence on the earth. Eco-criticism itself is an earth-centered approach to study the nature and environment. So the poet brings earth as a center to the environment, where every creature of the earth has equal importance, the belief that if the earth is alive, then humans are also alive. By bringing the destructed form of nature, the poet has tried to imply the meaning of interconnectedness of humans with nature. Therefore, this poem is optimistic towards Earth's life and the power of nature in front of human beings. Friends, this is how I have tried to analyze. I have tried to give a very short summary of this poem. If you have liked this poem, click on the like button, write in the comment box. Thank you so much for watching this video.
Dear friends, thank you so much for watching this video. You can reach me at mukeshenglish@gmail.com. Please do subscribe the channel, click on the like button for more videos on literature, workbook, pronunciation, grammar, communication skills, presentation skills, interview skills. Stay in tune with Mukesh English. Thank you once again.